We're here.
Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
I'm Peggy. Who are you?
I'm Amanda.
Jeez.
We are Junction Fiber Mill.
We are Junction Fiber Mill. You're watching the Junction Fiber Mill Millcast, and wow, has it been a long time?
It has been a while. I feel like, I don't know, a month? More?
At least a month. So just to be clear, we've been doing the Millcast, but we've been pre-recording them, doing them out of sequence because you've traveled, I've traveled, and we're going to catch you up on all of that. But it's nice to be sitting next to you.
Yeah, we're back
in real time.
It's a whole new season. You're wearing
right. No sweaters. That's so funny.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's so green. It's
I know.
so green and so warm and lovely.
Yeah. You'll have to excuse the background noises. We're recording this in the middle of a chock-a-block day, and we also have to have some work done on our water heaters.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, it is great to be back, and it's great to have you. It's just great to have us here.
Yeah, for anyone who's new, who are we? Well, we started the mill in 2020. We opened up our doors in 2021 as a custom processing mill, making yarn for local sheep farmers on our small, relatively small spinning equipment. Big if you're thinking hand spinners, really small if you're thinking like local textile industry. And then we started making our own yarn, which is what you see behind us today.
Yeah. And we're in, as we said, we're in White River Junction, Vermont.
Good point.
Halfway up the state on the eastern side. Kind of in the shadows of King Arthur Flour. Simon Pierce is here. All kinds of reasons to come visit what's referred to as the Upper Valley. But that's where we, Junction Fiber Mill, are.
Yeah, and we like to tell folks about what we're up to and share the process of making yarn kind of start to finish, because I know at least when we were getting started, we couldn't find a lot of that out there, and as we started to share with folks about what goes on in these walls, people have definitely responded to it.
Yeah, they kind of like to know, lift up the hood and see what's really going on under there.
Yep.
And it's very fun to share. So, yeah, but let's start why we've been sort of ships in the night.
I think we may need to take a little pause. We'll cut to it.
Okay.
Hey, guys.
Oh, hey.
Are we interrupting anything?
It's
yes,
okay.
But we're good.
We're good.
The priority is the hot water haters.
Talk to us.
Okay, here we are again.
Sorry for that interruption. We had mentioned that we had some technical problems. We actually have 2 on-demand hot water heaters that get up to 180 degrees, and that's really critical when we're scouring raw wool. It's just that heat, along with detergent, is excellent at breaking down the lanolin, but the on-demand hot water went on the fritz at the end of the day yesterday. And Dead River is the name of the company that takes care of on-demand hot water heaters, and 2 guys were here tackling that, and
now it's back to work.
Now it's back to work, which is,
which we need, and not only for doing the washing of the wool, I mean, that's what we need the uber hot water for, but we also rinse every skein that we process so that the fibers can sort of bloom and blossom into their full potential.
We also do some dyeing in the sinks. We have 4 sinks that get a lot of work out, but they're back in biz.
Yay, okay. I think we had already told people who we are, so
let's talk about where you've been.
Yeah, I now it feels forever ago.
Yeah, it probably does, right?
I went to France on my family vacation this year, which was just excellent. So it was just Cody and I. We took the kids to the south of France. Yeah, sorry, Cody and I with the kids. Yeah. To the south of France, and I say the south of France broadly because we slept in. If you don't count the airplane rides, we slept in 8 different places.
Wow.
In the 12 days we were there.
Wow.
Yeah, so we flew into Nice and stayed in Antibes, which is a town right next to Nice. Beautiful. We stayed right on the beach there, and it was just gorgeous weather. And then we flew again because we didn't realize quite how far it was when we were booking our trip. Okay, we were booking this trip on babysitter time because I was like, we don't hire somebody, so we do this during the daytime when we have mental energy. We're never going on a trip. So we booked a babysitter, and so anyways.
That's funny.
That is why we ended up with an in-vacation flight. So we flew to Toulouse, which is sort of on the western side of France.
Yeah.
And then we rented bikes. We went through a company, Safran, and so they booked this whole thing for us. But we rented bikes with a little bike trailer that fit 2 kids, and we went from Toulouse to Carcassonne.
I know it.
4 days of biking along the Canal du Midi.
Okay.
Which was built in the 1600s as a canal to haul freight and basically connect the Atlantic Ocean with the Mediterranean. And it's really cool and great for families because it's super duper flat. Because it's all a canal. It's the only elevation gain and loss you get is at the locks, where they change the levels of the water. And there were at the time, I've never realized this, on a canal, you still need to have like sidewalk road type things along the sides of it so that the horses...
So that it can pull things...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of canal boats. It was really cute and dreamy.
Excellent.
But we biked for 4 days. And pretty much all the accommodation we stayed at was like excellent. There was only one place we didn't love. And then we stayed an extra night in Carcassonne, which I was really glad because I loved that town. We got to see the old castle, which I had seen back in high school. I did one of my high school field trips, but I forgot just how cool it is. It is a bit like Disney World, you know, you got the like, it's like one of those like turrets. And,
yeah, but it's the real thing.
It was rebuilt, but yeah, it is like the real thing. And then the food was great there. Again, terrific weather. We just spent both of those afternoons just sitting in the like square with the fountain, having our little like Aperol spritzes. It was just great. Maeve loved fountains. She kept calling them mountains with water coming out of them.
Oh, very fun.
And then we took 2 trains to get back to Nice for our flight home. So it was a full day of train travel, but the kids did pretty good.
Yeah.
And then we were in Nice proper for one night, which was cool, very lively, more restaurants than you can imagine. And then we flew to Copenhagen for an overnight layover because I love Denmark, and so when I saw we could get a cheapish flight that went through Denmark for a night, I was like, twist my arm.
Yeah.
So we, their transit system's so awesome. So like from the time we got off the plane till we were like in our Airbnb in Copenhagen was, I don't know, 40 minutes maybe. So it wasn't too onerous to like get into town. We stayed in Copenhagen. It was the world's most beautiful weather, which is a huge deal in Denmark. Nice, they're used to it.
Yeah.
Copenhagen, it's like a national holiday. So we like walked a bunch. We got some, you can have alcoholic drinks on the streets there, probably the same thing in Nice too. But like you can take your drink and like go around in public. So we didn't really like hang out any place in particular, just sort of strolled around.
Terrific.
And then we flew back. So, and we still like each other by the end of it. And we flew out, we left for the trip on a Sunday, we came back on a Friday night, which was actually really nice and felt very luxurious for us, so we didn't even have to pack midweek, and we didn't have to unpack midweek, we had the buffer.
Yeah, you had a little time to adjust.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you were in on Monday, and, let's see, it's hard to even, seems so long ago. You went to France, things here went absolutely just fine, and then Elise and I packed up and went down to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival.
I think, you were probably traveling down as I was flying back.
Right. So, and Maryland was fantastic. I mean, people were talking about the weather. We had one weather incident, and it was bad. If you were in a tent, it was tough.
It was funny because I saw, we'll get to the rest of it, I saw a bunch of those vendors at the next festival in New Hampshire. And so I was talking with like Green Mountain Spinnery.
Yeah.
They were in a tent, and apparently it held up, but it was just like everyone crowded in there, or like trying to escape the hail.
So that Saturday was absolutely gorgeous, and then you could literally see a black wall coming at you. And we were inside a Butler building. It was fine, but there were some people that had tents that were provided by Maryland Sheep and Wool, and some were tents people had brought on their own.
Yeah.
And it was not just that it was rain, it was also wicked high winds and hail.
Yeah.
I know there was one guy, a potter there, half of his inventory shattered down. Yeah. So for some it was awful, but it was in this 1 hour window. And the rest of the market was outstanding. And the only challenge is it's a long drive, but this year we got smart and we broke it up. We drove down Thursday, got halfway down to Mamaroneck, New York, spent the night with my brother, and then continued another 4.5 hours down to Maryland, and we basically did the same thing going back. But because we're set up on these rollers, setup was really pretty easy.
Yeah.
And then I got back on a Monday,
a
little on the tire. Yeah, literally, hi. I headed home, laid down for a bit because I had to leave at 4:30 in the morning to fly to Chicago.
Yeah.
For the H&H convention, which we had not talked about a lot, but it's called H&H America. It's at the Stevens Convention Center in Rosemont, and it's what's referred to sometimes as a B&B,
B2B.
B2B rather.
I wish it was a bed and breakfast.
There were 535 vendors there. And I think the attendance was in the neighborhood of 6,000, and it was really two different audiences. Huge section of the vendors were for quilting. and everything to do with quilting.
Okay.
The most outrageous sewing machines, the arm ones that do quilter, the different kinds of fabrics and thread, and then the other half was all about yarn.
Yep.
And so what I was interested in, it was connecting with our local yarn shops. Met tons of the folks that are already carrying our Junction Fiber Mill yarn, and then met a lot of folks who were interested. And we had a terrific booth. You'll see a before and after. But, you know, it's 3 days, so I set up on Tuesday, flew in Tuesday, set up Tuesday, and then it's all day Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in a convention center where, you know.
Can't see the light of day.
Yeah, it's a little tough. But I got to stay with my sister-in-law, which was a real treat to see her and her kids, which is great. And I reconnected with some old friends because Todd and I used to live in the Chicago area.
Yeah.
And that was outstanding. And then flew home Saturday. So it was basically 10 days between Maryland and Chicago.
And then meanwhile, Leah and I got in the truck on Friday.
Right, that's right.
And went over to Deerfield, and you saw the recap from that last week, but we did the New Hampshire Sheep and Wool Festival.
Right.
And we were back in time on Mother's Day for me to say hi to the kids before they went to bed, which was nice. And yeah, again, crappy weather one day, beautiful weather the next day.
Right.
And then we're now both back in the mill.
Yeah, but before we look forward, just looking back, what I just so appreciated at Maryland, I think you experienced the same thing at New Hampshire, is, you know, just people who came out and wanted to say thanks for the Millcast and connecting with us, and just meeting a ton of people that, you know, are part of our community, and
it was great.
Very satisfying.
Yeah, a lot of folks saying, like, keep doing what you're doing. We love to see the tour of the mill and see what's going on in there, which more on that later. You know, we just love to learn about this stuff, and we see that you guys have a passion for it. So anyways, we appreciate all the kind words.
Really appreciate
it. Really keeps us going. And
absolutely. Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, I guess I won't be moving to the French Riviera anytime soon.
I hope not. Man, go visit, but don't stay there. But I have to tell you something I've come back with. This sounds ridiculous. I'm going to hold this up and show this to you. At first,
it looks like a bunch of doll hair.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It looks like doll hair. It's actually linen. It's flax turned into linen. This is actually from Egypt. And when I was at H&H, a guy came into the booth, and first of all, he knew all about us. When I said to him, let me explain Junction Fiber, you don't have to. I've seen all the Millcasts, you know, like all of them. And he handed this to me, and he said, have you ever considered mixing your wool with linen? And I've seen that before.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know what it looked like. So this is raw, and I'm not certain that you can get this in the United States. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. And so he gave me this little sample, and we're going to try it, just see what happens. I'm going to do some research on whether it should be 10% or 30%. The notion would be that you could have almost a summer weight yarn that would have the linen. I think also because there's no crimp in it.
Yeah.
I'm just really curious. I love that because we're a small mill, we get to experiment.
Yeah.
And next experiment on deck, linen and wool.
Yeah, and that is
Stay
literally
tuned.
all you have. So it's
this is it.
Teeny tiny experiment.
Yeah, right. So
right
now. If it's 30%, we'll do a couple pounds, and we'll just run it through the picker, the carder, pin drafter, and spin it up, and just see what's it like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to say before we move on, thank you for all your comments last week on ideas for what kind of festivals we should maybe be looking at. People wrote in about different festivals they like, where they think we should try to go.
Yeah.
So as we are sort of assessing our upcoming year and which ones would have us as vendors, we really appreciate your feedback.
Not always easy to get into them. Sometimes you got to get on the wait list, but we've been thinking about some in different states. Part of it is just a manpower and because right now we're doing about 9, so that's 9 weekends. We'll figure it out. Yeah. But we so thoroughly enjoy meeting people in person. So
and we can tell people love the shop for yarn in person, and why not?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Also, we should say that a lot of people came to New Hampshire very excited about prom yarn, and we launched prom yarn online, so we didn't have it with us in New Hampshire. But anyways, we made a lot of it. So I'm guessing by the time we're recording, prom yarn is still around. So check that out.
Yeah. It's so cool.
It is really, really, really cool. But we've got something new for this week, because we always do.
So spring is in the air.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love this.
Yeah. Okay, we are bringing back Pinky Swear.
One of my most favorite Pinky Swear but in sport weight.
Yeah, this is a limited edition.
Yeah.
We just did a batch of it.
It's so fun.
It felt so seasonal. And I almost want to call this pink lemonade, but it's Pinky Swear.
The recipe was Pinky Swear. I love the name Pinky Swear. You're right, it's also lemonade, but Pinky Swear.
Well, it's just got these really fun yellows and pink.
And we had retired it. We have not had Pinky Swear for a while, so it's very fun that it's back, and and of course, sport weight makes it great for summertime.
Yep, exactly.
Ding, 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 ding.
Get your Pinky Swear. That'll launch Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Pinky Swear. Yeah.
I was like, what finger are you throwing up to the camera?
Isn't that your Pinky Swear?
Yeah.
Do you not? Yeah, a Pinky Swear.
Pinky Swear. Pinky Swear.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Yeah. Hats.
Also, I want to just let folks know that we have hats back in stock. You probably saw a lot of these. I haven't decided which photos I'm going to put up on the Millcast, but we wore our Junction Fiber Mill hats. I say we. I and Louis wore the Junction Fiber Mill hats constantly in France.
Oh, good.
Apparently, they fit babies too. So, anyways, these are back in stock on the website now.
Excellent. Hey, I forgot to mention.
Okay.
You went to France.
Yep.
While we were having lambs.
Yes. Give us the full
Oh
scoop.
my God.
How was your lambing season?
You know what? In general, overall, excellent. We have 16 lambs. The boys won out. We're 7 ewes and 9 rams. That's okay. And they're just frolicking around. I've got a video early this morning. I got up to let them out to go out. And so we bring them up to the barnyard at night, especially now because the lambs are really small. So every morning we'll go out and we release them, and they were all racing out, and I got a couple of pictures. It's hard to get pictures of the lambs because they're very skittish, and you want to move in close, and they're like, I don't know you, my mom knows you, but so I've got also a couple of pictures there. But lambing season went really, really well.
Okay. How long was it in total? Do you remember?
I know it was a little more than 2 weeks.
Okay.
So not bad. But while I was in Chicago, it rained like crazy time.
Okay.
And pardon me, but the barnyard.
Yeah, ours is not looking good either.
Holy mackerel. There was just so much rain. The fields are fine. They're out there, they're eating grass. But our backyard, we can't mow it. It's like a sponge, and you walk out there and you go, yeah, we're not putting the mower on this.
Yeah. No, we finally got to mowing on, what was the first night? There was like a brief pause in the rain while you were away, I think on Thursday night. So we did our first mow. But yeah, we still haven't brought our sheep out to pasture yet. I think it'll happen this weekend, maybe this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're in the muck right now.
Yeah.
Sheep. They're finding like their little spots that are dry and
yeah, this too shall dry out, but boy, the White River, which is where, it comes all downhill, and it was maximum full.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain this year, but hopefully that means good things for the veggies in the fields. Yeah, I don't know.
You got to work with what you get. We've been here before where we have a really wet spring, and then come August, you're just desperate for that rain to come back. Because we need, you need to feed your animals on the grass, but just as important, the hay farmers in the area, they want to get their first cut, second cut, and right now there's no way that they can go into the field. It's just too wet to bring the equipment in and start haying. It's a little early anyway, but even so, there's a lot of drying out that has to happen. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Do we want to do a tour in the mill?
Yeah, let's take people on a little spin around and see what's going on.
Very good.
All right, let's head in the mill and see what we've got going on today. All right, it looks like we've got some dyeing happening. I'm just going to flip us around. All right, looks like we're making some Aurora Borealis today, and we're just about done with that. And heading over this way. Oh, we're labeling some yarn I'm really excited about. We'll tell you a lot more about that soon. That's before, that is after. And it looks like on the spinner, we've also got some Aurora Borealis. Here's the roving. You can actually see the 2 plies have 2 different colors because we've got 1 ply here and then the other ply heading into the machine. This one is just a little bit of green and some purple. This one doesn't have that green. It's got more of a light reddish pink. So those are heading into the spinner here. One of my favorite things to look at is how the stripes are coming onto the bobbin as it's spun. This machine, unlike our other spinner, puts yarn on the bobbin in sort of stripes. So it goes up and down a little section, then it just jumps a little bit more, and so it doesn't actually go up and down the whole way. And then we've got some of that same yarn being plied here. You can see it's coming off. And this machine fills up bobbins by going up and down, up and down. So you can see there's no striping on the ply as that, we call it the builder. The builder's just traveling up and down really slowly. But you can still see how the yarn is different color from bobbin to bobbin, even though it's in the same quote-unquote dye lot, because no two skeins of making tracks are different. And once it starts coming off of those bobbins in the skein winder, the colors sort of change as you take it off. It's variegation. All right, what else have we got going on? We've got some hydrangea. Oh, it's just finishing. There's the tail end of the hydrangea roving, heading off of the pin drafter. Exciting moment. Whoop, there it is. Going into the can. And Leah's gonna turn off that machine. And Elise is working on skein winding some Maryland blue crab. That's exciting. And we've got a lot of that to get off the bobbins today, so you can see we're really filling it up. We've got our whole extra row of bobbins heading into the skein winder, so we're doing more like 14, 16? 15, okay. This was our most recent skein wind. This is the blueberry making tracks DK. We sold a lot of that at Maryland and New Hampshire, and so we had to make some more. It's just such a lovely solid. It goes with so many of our making tracks DK weight yarns. All right, so more hydrangea to go through the pin drafter. And that's pretty much all the active machines. Let's see what we were working with earlier today. Oh, this is a treat. This is Savage Hart Farm. That's Peg's Farm wool, obviously natural white. And that has been picked today. Again, the machine is off right now, but you can see how it comes out the other side. So the picker's job is to open up the locks to get them ready for carding, so that once it hits the carding rollers, they don't have to work too hard to start to align the fibers. So that's all ready, and I can see there's a giant pile of what will be some beautiful natural light gray yarn. You can tell because there's just a smaller percentage of this beautiful natural charcoal and a lot more of this white. And so once that gets all blended together, it's gonna form a light gray. And I know what you're all thinking. I do just wanna dive right into that wool. Alas, here's some more and ready to be carded. I love this. Somebody brought in some houseplants for the mill. Isn't that cute? And let's see, I'm gonna flip this around again. That is pretty much everything going on in the mill today. Again, it's always different, it's always changing, and yeah, we will head back to the Millcast.
All right, that's the tour.
That's the tour.
Well, it is good. It's
You're
not live. We're not live, but we're
like a couple days before air, so that's super. It's
Yeah.
nice, and we've got a laundry list of things to tackle, and
we sure do.
Always a lot of fun projects on the horizon, which you'll hear about.
Lots on deck.
Oh, I do want to show off before we close down. I did make this shirt.
Hey!
Yeah, it's my.
Oh, did you quilt the pocket?
Of course I did.
Of course she did.
But I dyed the fabric too. This is my indigo linen that I dyed when my hot COVID natural dyeing hobby summer. So it's pre-mill. This was 2020 summer.
Okay.
I got really into natural dye. This was my indigo experiment, and I made this Sure, I think it's a Wixton pattern is the name of the company that makes it. But
so did you take a class to learn how to do indigo, or did you just cook this up at home?
I mean, I've got a lot of books.
Okay.
I learned in books, and then I made it at home, and I invited some friends over. Indigo is a funky one in terms of natural dye, because like 99% of the other dyes are like, you mordant the fiber, you make a tea out of the dye stuff, and then you just stick it into the hot,
But indigo's more complicated.
Indigo, you have to like mess with the pH. You have to let it like get to there's like terms for it. But anyways, it's cool when you actually do it. It's not like a hot tea like the rest of the dyeing.
Right.
And you stick it in, and it actually, I'll put some pictures up because I took a lot of photos that day, but you stick your white thing in. It doesn't have to be mordanted.
Right.
And it comes out and it's still kind of white, and then immediately it's green, and then it sort of fades to blue as it oxidizes.
Oh, right,
so
okay.
the indigo
wild.
itself, like there's a sheen, it almost looks metallic on top, that's blue. And then in the actual vat, it's like a light greenish clear.
Yeah, I've seen that, and it's just...
it's really cool.
The chemistry of it all.
Yeah, so you put your fabric in, and the way that you get, like you can see on the pockets, there's all these different shades. That's just a piece of fabric that's been dipped more times.
Okay.
And you can, the vat starts to exhaust at a certain point too,
Right.
but I had a friend bring over like a white tennis shoe that he dipped in. And the key is you just can't let a lot of oxygen get into the water, so you're slowly lowering.
Okay.
But that's how, if you've ever seen that like shibori,
Yeah.
I think it's what it's called, where you fold the fabric and tie it all these certain ways.
Yeah.
The way that works is just like it doesn't get penetrated by that liquid, and you're in there not that long, so it doesn't all get saturated. It comes out, and then boop, you've got your whites.
Your fun design.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
anyways, blast from the past, my indigo shirt, because it's
nice.
too hot for a sweater now.
Yeah. We'll get to cool days again, but man, it's warm up there. Yeah, and it's only May.
I know.
It's early to be this warm.
Yes.
But that's right.
We complain about the weather no matter what it is.
We're not complaining. We're not complaining. Stop. We're not complaining. No, it's gorgeous out, and we'll take what we get.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will see you next week on Millcast. Oh, and I should actually say before we sign off.
Wait, don't go. What?
Open house this Saturday. May 24th.
Yes.
Here at
is
the
that
Mill.
Memorial Weekend?
I believe.
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yep, I will be here. I think Liz will be here. I don't know if you want to be here or not, but
I may be in Portland helping out with grandkids.
Cool. Well, I will be like flying solo because Cody's taking the kids back home that weekend.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow.
I know. So.
Party. All right. See ya.
Also, I gotta take care of the sheep anyway.
Well, yeah, you got the sheep.
Yeah,
that's compared to kids. Ah. All right. Bye. For the third time. See ya.